that I thought that a lot of people have had things where, either they think they're dreaming, they think they're sleeping, they think they hear something, they don't know. But your story was very interesting. So that's why I wanted to have you on, just to kind of share that story.
I moved here basically to help my sister take care of her baby. And I was living with my sister and my brother-in-law for the first year that I was here. And I actually just recently got a new apartment of my own, like with my friend who's my roommate. We just moved in February. One of the things that's been really weird about Mexico is the fact that I had to get used to earthquakes, because I'm not originally from an area that has to deal with that at all. I'm actually from an area that basically doesn't have natural disasters, which is cool.
Oh, where's that at?
I'm from Boston,
Oh,
so
okay.
I guess we get like every once in a while a hurricane will come by, but at that point it's usually pretty low. We've had severe winters, but like I've grown up with that. I'm used to that. But there's not like alarms or anything that you really have to be aware of. Like when it's coming. It's all over the news. All the grocery stores are filled with people getting ready to like stay inside. So when I moved to Mexico, one of the things that I put like in my mental notes was like, okay, there's earthquakes here, and that's something you're going to have to be prepared for. I think like basically the whole world knows the really bad one that happened in 2017. Obviously, we're close to a fault line, so there's a lot of earthquakes all the time.
Sure.
And because of all these frequent earthquakes, they put together an alarm system through all of Mexico that will go off whenever there's an earthquake anywhere in Mexico.
Okay. And is this something that like it knows when an earthquake is coming up, or is it something that it happens as the earthquake is happening itself?
I don't know that much about the alarm system, to be honest. I know that they find out a little bit beforehand,
Okay.
but it's like a very, very short amount of time in advance. So basically, what will happen is they'll get the signal that an earthquake is coming. They'll put on the alarm, and when the alarm goes off, when you hear it, you have 40 seconds. And that's 40 seconds to get out of your house and find a street that like hopefully isn't lined with really tall buildings, right?
Uh-huh.
So that was something that I'd listened to a video on YouTube of what the alarm sounds like, because I'd never heard it before and I wanted to be prepared. The idea of an earthquake is terrifying to me because I've never experienced it. So I didn't want to like mess around with that. I listened to the YouTube video, maybe like it's a very specific sound. It's not like police alarms or house alarms or car alarms. It's kind of like a wavy sound.
Okay.
If that makes So I had like heard it once or twice before this happened. And then weirdly enough, every time an earthquake has happened, I haven't been in town, which is really weird, really lucky. I went to a couple different places since I've been here, just all within Mexico. And in those areas, like it just hasn't been an issue. Point is, I haven't had to deal with any earthquakes that much.
Okay.
And so the other night on March 3rd, I was sleeping. This was a Thursday morning. I was having like actually a really stressful dream. I remember, I won't go into like the full details of it, but I remember like being stressed, and I was at an airport, which already isn't like a super settling place to be. And then in my dream, I started hearing the alarm sound, the earthquake alarm sound. And in my dream, I knew exactly what it was. Everyone in my dream got up and started running outside. I started doing the same. And in the act of running out in my dream and like hearing this alarm, I like shot up out of bed. Like, you know how sometimes you wake up pleasantly and like you just,
Absolutely.
kind of roll into consciousness?
Yeah.
That was not this. I was like shocked awake.
Okay.
And
your adrenaline's pumping and you're out of bed, ready to go, kind of a thing.
I was just hearing the alarm.
Right.
So I'm ready to like jolt out of bed and run. I'm on a second floor, so like I have to do this really fast. And I wake up ready to go, and to my surprise, I woke up to silence. And I was really confused about this. Like, I know I didn't wake up naturally. I wouldn't have made that sound on my own. Like, I'd never heard it. So I was really confused about that. And since I woke up, I looked at what time it was, and it was 7 a.m., which is a lot earlier than when I usually wake up. I usually wake up around 9 a.m. I work remotely, so
Okay.
there's no way I'm going back to sleep. And so I decided to call my mom, and we talked. I mean, in my phone records, I can see that I called her at 7:15 a.m. So we talked for a while, and after about 40 minutes, I was like, okay, well, I think it's time to start my day. So I got off the phone and went about my day. Then I got a text from my boyfriend, and he texted me something along the lines of like, oh my God, did you hear the alarm? I hate waking up to them. It's so creepy. And I was like, oh yeah, like I did hear the alarm. I heard it this morning. That's what woke me up. That kind of like confirmed in my mind that what I heard was real. I was like,
Sure.
okay, yeah, absolutely. I heard it. And like I figured, maybe he heard it really early in the morning and like went back to sleep, and that's why he was texting me way later. At this point, it was like 8:50 in the morning. But then I got another text from my sister and my brother-in-law. We were in like a group chat together, and they were like, "Oh my God, did you guys hear the alarms?" And I was like, "Yeah, I heard the like. This is weird. Why is everyone talking about it now?" She was like, "Hey, where are you?" And I didn't think that much of that at first because like I'm in the house, and that's like a pretty normal text to get. But then she followed up with like, everyone ran outside for the alarm. Like, where are you? And I was like, what are you talking about? So I
So
started.
as in it just
asking,
happened at that time?
What'd you say?
So as in that it just happened at that time?
Yeah. So I asked, and I was like, wait, like what time did the alarm go off? I asked my boyfriend that. And he was like, it went off at like 8:40. That was when I got really, really confused because like I was fully awake. There's no way that I like wouldn't have heard if there was an earthquake alarm. Like they're really loud,
Right.
They're
Because
gonna
you
get
woke up
everyone
at
up and out.
you woke up at
So,
7:50,
yeah,
right?
exactly. Except like I did hear it just at a different time.
Okay. Yeah. And more in your sleep, in your dream.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, like it woke me up. I was in my
Sure.
sleep, and it was like loud and recognizable. So I woke up, and then when it apparently actually happened, I was fully awake and didn't hear anything.
So the
I,
time
like,
from you waking up to the time that you received the text message from your friend saying, "Hey, where are you?" How long was that? Like about an hour or so?
yeah, about an hour. So I remember I got off the phone with my mom at 7:55, and then I got the text message from everyone at around 8:50. So yeah, that's like basically an hour.
So even just within that time, that's plenty of time for you to be fully awake and alert and hearing the sound of the actual siren itself that everybody else claimed to have been hearing at that particular time, right?
Yeah, right. So like I went outside afterwards because I was like, I kind of wanted to like see for myself. I mean, it's not that I thought that people were lying to me, but I just like, I don't know. It was like really surreal, and I was like, did the alarm like really go off? And there's like all these people outside in their pajamas because like they were all woken up by this earthquake alarm that I just didn't hear at all.
Okay, so
And,
I'm gonna stop you right there. So if they were outside in their pajamas, then that means that alarm had just gone off because there's no way that somebody would be out in their pajamas an hour after one of the alarms.
Yeah, I mean, like if you get woken up from an alarm, you're obviously gonna run outside.
Right.
But then, like once everything's over, you're not gonna like stick around outside in your pajamas. Like
Yeah,
this had
exactly.
just happened.
Okay, well, see, now that's really interesting, and that tells me that they're obviously when we talk about the glitch in the Matrix, we talk about glitches in reality. Really, is what we're describing. But the fact that you had something that went from you having a dream about it to waking up to then starting your day. And then an hour later, it's like everything caught up to you. So it's almost like all of that reality that you woke up to, it just caught up to you in a way.
Right. It's like I was ahead of everyone else for some
Exactly.
reason.
Exactly. Okay. That's really interesting.
Yeah. It was really weird.
No, exactly. Exactly. And it's always been hard for us to tell who is honest and who's telling the truth or who's just making up a story for Reddit. But I could tell the sincerity in your story that it was just really confusing to you to
Oh
have
god,
that
it was so confusing.
to have that hour, where it's like, wait a minute, I've been up. What are you talking about? That alarm went off a long time ago. It didn't go off now. But I do have a question for you. Since then, have you had anything down there that would kind of follow up to this? That it's been maybe the beginning of a series of glitches for you? Because sometimes a lot of people experience these things. Once they experience one glitch, they start to notice other ones as well.
Oh, that's really interesting. Um, to be honest, I haven't noticed anything, but I also didn't think to like be on the lookout for
Mm-hmm.
anything. Like, okay, so for a lot of glitch in the Matrix stories, I know there's like, oh, you like switched into like a different timeline, and so like things are like slightly off,
Sure.
and like I haven't experienced that at all. Yeah, as far as I can tell, everything's like completely.
Well, to say that your glitch, you almost slipped into a different timeline in your glitch, and then everything caught up to you.
Yeah, it's like I slipped out for a second and then like went back in.
Exactly. Yeah. Well, that's really interesting. Well, here's the thing. If you have anything that comes up, I mean, I'd always like to, hear back from you because as just a follow-up.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I'll definitely keep my eyes out for more glitches. I didn't know that was something that to even consider, to be
Yeah.
honest. It's really weird, like having read all these different stories on Glitch in the Matrix for like so many months, and then like to actually experience them. Like when I would read them, I'd be like, "Wow, those are really interesting. I want to know more, but I don't want to live one." Like, it's creepy, you know?
Right.
And then like to have this just like fully unexplainable thing, and the thing is like I would just think that like, oh, maybe I got my times mixed up or something. But like it's the call records that really mess me up because I know for a fact what time I woke up because I called my mom
Sure.
at that time.
Sure. Yeah, and that's the proof for you, and I think that's the part that people have a hard time with is when they listen to your story, they have to hear, the conviction in your voice, the confusion that you had, and how serious this is, because nobody knows you. nobody can look at your phone, but
Right.
to you, know what you experienced, and to you also have those records to tell yourself, hey, I woke up at this time. I know that I called my mother. I know that I, got ready for the day. And then the alarm happened and I didn't even hear it on that time. I heard it when I woke up. So there's so much there that's really important for people to understand. There really is.
Yeah, it was really weird. Like at first I was trying to figure out ways to justify what I experienced, like oh, like maybe there was some sort of like pre-earthquake shock wave, and just like I mean, I looked up everything. I couldn't explain it, so I just stopped asking questions. Like, okay, so like that was a glitch, and like now I move on, I guess.
Yeah. Well, I definitely think you're going to have more glitches, and I got to say that because so many people who've had them in the past, it's almost like they connect to something. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
We've noticed this with near-death experiences too, and people who've dealt with the paranormal, is that once they're connected to it, it continues for them. So keep your eye out for more glitches for sure.
Yeah, I definitely will. I definitely will.
Well, I got to tell you, Sophia, I really do appreciate you doing this, and I appreciate you, coming on and sharing your story and everything, because it does help people who have had their own stories, and they're afraid to share it, or they're afraid to tell people because of, any kind of ridicule or people, not believing them, and that's something that we all have to kind of get over. And there's people out there who, believe your story, they believe you, and then they're thankful for you doing this.
Yeah, it's no problem. I mean, it's like kind of a cool story. I hope that yeah, I mean, if it can help people, I'm totally happy to be a part of that.
Yeah, well, I think it was a very cool story, and I do appreciate it so much. And, everything worked out, and I appreciate you doing. I know you're in a cafe and stuff, and I know a lot of people are probably wondering why that is, but you lost power, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so you had to go somewhere and actually to do this video, and I appreciate you doing that. I really do.
Oh, it's no problem. I mean, honestly, I was excited to do it. Yeah, I think podcasts are really cool. I didn't know about yours before you reached out to me, but it's like right up my alley of things I'm interested in. So I'm like excited to be a part of it. I think it's cool.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much, Sophia. I appreciate it. And keep me updated
Yeah, I
on
will. I'll let
everything.
you know if anything else weird happens. And thanks for having me.